We're so blessed with the music program here. Thank you so much. Good morning. I'm Natalie Fleury, and I am very pleased to be your representative from the Board of Trustees this morning. My pronouns are she and her. During these challenging times, what a beautiful thing it is to be able to come together in community that puts love at the center. With love in mind, I want to take a moment to welcome that part of our community that's joining us online. Hi, Mom. Our Unitarian Universalist faith calls us to take action for equity, justice, and right relations. In keeping with our UU values, we honor the history of the land on which we gather. No matter where you are in this beautiful state, you are on sacred ancestral land. These nations have cared for the lands for millennia, and as newcomers, we are called to honor the teachings and wisdom of the ancestors past, present, and future. At UUCW, we are building an intentionally anti-racist community that is more inclusive, equitable, and diverse. We are also mindful of our responsibility to oppose violence and hate in all its destructive forms. We create and foster community by providing an environment where all feel valued and cared for, and where all are given the opportunity to form meaningful connections with one another. If you're a newcomer here, I hope you picked up a flyer on the way in that tells you all about what to expect and how to connect. We'd love to have you fill out the welcome side of the form that you received, and then you can put it in the offering basket when the offering baskets come around. We hope to see you at the newcomer table in the foyer after the service. For those of you in the sanctuary, I'd like you to take a look at the announcements in your order of service. Those of you watching online, you can find most of the announcements through the e-news in your email or on the UUCW website on the page where you connected to the service. Here are a few items of note. The pledges are rolling in. Number 2, we are in the midst of our pledge drive, and we need your financial support. Your contributions are vital, so please take the time to make your pledge. The goal is to have all the pledges in by the end of March, so the Finance Committee and the Board of Trustees can finalize the budget for the next fiscal year. And if you haven't seen it on your way in, there's a lot going on in the community room today after the service, so please stop by. There are a number of tables. There's a postcard writing campaign. There's a chance to look at information about an Easter egg hunt, healthy grain dishes, a mahjong demonstration, and on and on and on. So stop at the tables in the community room after the service. It's also time to look at options for raising our voices, and you'll see on number 5 and number 6, there's some information about how to get involved in some social justice processes being supported by the church. And it's also time for us to provide a meal for guest house, so that information is also in the order of service. All of the announcements are important, so please take the time to look through those announcements. And now let's settle in to our time together.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Jill Braithwaite. I use she, her pronouns, and I have the honor of serving this congregation as your minister. How good it is to gather. When I wrote this earlier this week, I said, on this wild weather morning, but I have revised, according to the forecast, to say, how good it is to gather in the lull before winter reminds us that it is not through with us yet. I invite us now to take a moment to bring ourselves into presence here together in this particular time, on this particular day, with whatever you are carrying with you. Like UU congregations all around the world, we begin our worship service by lighting our chalice. And I invite you now to join me in speaking our chalice lighting words for today aloud. They are printed in your order of service. In this small flame dwell, the beacon light of lanterns guiding travelers home, the warmth of hearth fires tended through the generations, the transforming energy of furnaces, and the power and life of our sun. May these blessings, warmth and light and life-giving energy, be kindled in each of us. Blessed be. Well, it doesn't look like it outside yet, but spring is coming, right? It's coming, it's on its way. And one thing that goes along with spring here in the Midwest is the planting of seeds. Seeds remind us that transformation often begins in darkness and quiet. Before it transforms into anything, a seed waits quietly in the dark, deep of the soil. It trusts the conditions that it cannot yet see or feel, and we, in turn, trust the seeds, right? Our lives unfold in much the same way. Our dreams, our intentions, our small acts of courage, kindness, imagination, and fear are planted in us and among us, often long before their meaning becomes outwardly visible. In this faith community, we make it our business to plant seeds and tend them, seeds of justice, compassion, and possibility. And we trust that with patience and care, what we nurture today may help us in the future to build a more loving and liberated world. So our service today is all about celebrating seeds. We'll enjoy songs about seeds, as we have just done. We'll consider what seeds have to teach us about transformation, and we'll imagine what can grow from certain types of seeds. And now it's time to get started with Dave bringing out the Wonder Box.
Good morning. My name is Dave Cicero. I'm Director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UUCW, and pronouns I use for myself are he and him. So a Wonder Box is what we use in some of the RE classes. This will not be unfamiliar. And there's a space up front, yeah, for those of you who want to come a little closer, we have some cushions right up front on the blue blanket there. So a Wonder Box is what we use to introduce the topic or the theme of that day's class. I'm going to do that with everybody here today. In it is a visual reminder of what today's theme is or today's topic is. So Reverend Jill just described what that is. So does anybody want to take a guess as to what might be in the Wonder Box today? Maybe some seeds. That would make sense, right, Lucy? So you have seeds also? What do you think? Maybe some plants? You have an idea? Seeds? What kind of seeds would you put in? Pumpkin seeds. Oh, yeah. We're going to hear about pumpkin seeds a little bit today. So those are good guesses. Let's see what's in here. Reverend Joe, would you like to straight up? Yep. And just pull that out. What is in the one? What is that? Does anybody know what those are in there? Why don't you pull one out? Yeah, you can pass one around to the kids. That is a milkweed pod. So when a milkweed plant is mature, it starts making the flower, makes its seeds, and then in the fall, in the late summer, those seeds start flying around, don't they? So how is this going to remind us of the idea of change or transformation. What might this remind you of or make you think of when you see it? Yeah, go ahead. So someone is pointing out that milkweed is one of the plants that monarch butterflies eat, which is another symbol of transformation. We'll deal with that another day, perhaps, right? Any other things that the seed pods might make you think of? Yeah. Make you think of trees, like what might grow from that seed. Exactly. And when it starts growing, it's not going to look anything like this. It's definitely going to change. One thing that seeds teach us is that in order to fully grow and achieve our full potential, big changes need to take place. So in the image that I just put up here, there's lots of parts growing out of the seed. Is that there? Okay, there's a picture. There's a close-up of the seed, the milkweed pods, and so the seed pretty much falls apart before it starts growing, and then parts start growing out of it. For any of this to begin, that initial seed first has to shed its protective coat. And this can be a very hard thing to do. So it's good to remind ourselves ahead of time that doing so will lead to more fulfillment and beauty later on. And that way we'll be prepared and hopefully more able to accept the hard parts when they come. So we will leave these milkweed pods on the chancel table to remind us this morning of what to look for and pay attention to. Are we all ready to get started? Yeah. Well, one's ecosystem or environment also plays a huge part in how a seed grows. So please rise now, as you're willing and able, to join in singing Rooted in Fertile Ground. You'll find it on the tan insert in your order of service.
We enter now a time for sharing of joys and concerns. that touch our individual lives. This is one of the ways that we express through ritual how we care for one another in this faith community. In a moment, you'll be invited to come to the mic to share aloud, or raise your hand and an usher will bring you a mic. I will light a candle for you, and after each sharing, I invite you all to respond with me, "We hold you in love." To folks attending online, please know that we hold you in love as well. Now let's pause and breathe together and hold all that's been shared in our hearts. Will you join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation? Spirit of life and love, divine mystery that has many names and is beyond all naming, we give thanks for the gift of this day. We give thanks for the gift of this community. We give thanks for the abundance of resources that sustain us. We give thanks for the love that holds us all, the love that flows within, among, and beyond us. May we listen for where love is calling us next, and may we know ourselves to be held by that great love that will not let us go. Blessed be. Now please remain seated and we'll sing together, "Still My Soul," which is in your order of service. The choir will sing it once through, and then the congregation is invited to join on the second time through.
Give me peace.
So we're mixing up the order of service a little bit today. So we're going to be doing the offering. Each week, our offerings do more than support this congregation. They ripple outward into the wider community. Through our Split the Plate program, we partner with organizations whose work reflects our shared commitment to compassion, equity, and justice. Our partner for March is Franciscan Peacemakers. Franciscan Peacemakers connects women who have survived sexual exploitation with safe housing, meaningful work, and a healing network of support. Since 1995, they have provided a compassionate presence to women engaging in prostitution on Milwaukee's streets while working toward an end to human trafficking and exploitation. In 2013, they established the Claire community to offer a more holistic, long-term pathway to healing. Living in this supportive environment for up to 2 years allows women to build skills, confidence, and a strong network of support as they begin transforming their lives. Through Franciscan Peacemakers social enterprise, residents earn a living wage while gaining leadership skills, teamwork experience, and the opportunity to build relationships grounded in trust and care. We are proud to partner with Franciscan Peacemakers. You can support the Franciscan Peacemakers work by dropping something in the offering basket or go to UUCW's website's Donate tab and select Split the Plate from the menu provided. Or you can text or mail your donation using this information on the screen. We thank you most sincerely for your support.
Now it's time for our story for all ages.
Good morning. I'm Desmond, my pronouns are he and him. Today I'm reading Seeds, written and illustrated by Carm Lemniskitz and published by Candlewood Press. Seeds carry the power of life, so they embark on amazing adventures. Some take off to distant lands, others wait to be carried to their destiny. Once they find their place, seeds go through a breathtaking transformations. Seeds have the power to multiply in number. One pumpkin seed brings dozens of pumpkins, and each pumpkin brings hundreds of seeds. Seeds have the power to multiply in size. The tiniest seed in the world sprouts a beautiful orchid. Seeds have the power to grow in difficult places. They can thrive despite in all odds. When we sow a seed, we take part in this amazing cycle. And we can plant many different kinds of seeds. A smile is a powerful seed, one that can bring joy and friendship. But there's also seeds that bring anger and misunderstanding. When those seeds grow, they pull us apart. Seeds can only bring what they carry. Pumpkin seeds can bring pumpkins, kindness seeds, and bring kindness. You have a lot of seeds in you to get to decide which ones to plant and which ones to help grow. Seeds have a whole world inside of them, just like you.
Thank you so much, Desmond, for reading that. And thank you all for listening. I wonder, hearing this story and having gone through it a couple times here in my own time, I'm wondering what kind of seeds I've sown in my life. What kind of things are growing from what I've planted? And what might I consider planting to go along with them? Maybe even to make up for mistakes that I've made. I'm also looking forward to seeing what others of you are imagining could grow from your own seeds. We'll have an opportunity to draw that out a little bit later. And in case you need a drawing tool, there are extras at the worship exploration table, and they'll also be available later as well.
Thank you, choir. All right, in our brief reflection today, we're going to have a little bit of interactive movement. And I wonder if the kids would like to join Dave up front here to help me. Would you guys help me with moving around a little bit? I think the kids are brave about moving around. We'll see about the rest of you. I've been thinking about transformation and how it happens. Transformation is a complicated business in this life, right? It can be very challenging. It can be hard to get started with a transformation that we're looking for in our lives. And it can also be hard to keep going with transformation, right? We get stuck. Cynthia Ocelli is an author, podcaster, and life coach, and she offers some inspiration about the process of self-transformation. She asks us to look at what seeds have to teach us about transformation. She writes this: "For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks, its insides come out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it can look like complete destruction." Now, as we know, transformation is a core Unitarian Universalist value, and I thought perhaps we could take a 5-step lesson from seeds about how to do transformation. You guys with me? Okay, so we've heard about how seeds rest for some time, sometimes a long time, in the dark quiet of the soil. And seeds are completely still there in the soil, right? Okay, so step 1 for a seed's transformation is this: sense that a new reality is possible. So show me your seed being as still and quiet as you can in the dark of the soil, and you sense that something new is possible. What a great job, everybody. Nice seeds you are. For a seed, sensing a new reality is not necessarily conscious like it is for us, although we could debate that later if you like. What we know for sure is that inside itself, a seed carries the potential for transformation, right? For what it's going to become, something else. And in that quiet, dark stillness, there are enzymes within a seed that get activated when the seed has contact with water. This begins the process of growth. And we human beings, too, have within us all sorts of potentialities for transformation, right? We don't generally stay exactly the same over the course of our lives. And sometimes we might be seeking a transformation of some kind. We might be feeling restless or dissatisfied. And those are times when it's good to listen to what our enzymes, our intuitions, or that still small voice inside are calling us to do. And sometimes it takes a lot of patience. Patience is hard. In the memoir Lab Girl, author Hope Yaren writes this, quote, "A seed knows how to wait. Most seeds wait for several years before starting to grow. Did you know a cherry seed can wait for 100 years with no problem? What exactly each seed is waiting for is known only to that seed." She continues, "Some unique trigger combination of temperature, moisture, light, and many other things is required to convince a seed to take the jump off the deep end and take its chance, to take its one and only chance to grow." And so it often is with us. We await conditions that make growth safe or possible or desirable. And some forms of growth turn out to never come to pass, which is all well and good too. And while we are limited by space and time and social circumstances of all kinds, it is true that we humans have the capacity to choose whether or not and when to jump off the deep end into transformation, right? Okay, so when the teeny tiny embryo inside a seed gets activated by contact with water, that brings us to step 2. Step 2 is a really big one, you guys. Are you ready? Okay, here comes step 2. Fall apart. Very good job. Very good job. The shell that once held and protected the seed for so long now completely disintegrates. It comes apart. Show me again what a seed falling apart looks like. And as this happens, a tiny root reaches downward from the broken apart seed, and it draws up a little more water. For us, these first stages of transformation often involve falling apart in some way. Certain kinds of events, like a big loss or a tough diagnosis, have a way of tearing away our sense of security and safety. It can really feel sometimes like we're falling apart. And even if the change isn't that big, the beginning of transformation usually means letting go of how things have been. What was is now no more. We find that we must let our shell crack and let the old version of ourselves fall away. And this is what makes room for transformation to continue. Okay, so now our seed with its one little root is making more roots. They're branching off. These grow deeper into the soil, and they're reaching out to gather more nutrients. And this is step 3. Feed yourself. So our seed is grabbing nutrients and water from the soil as much as it can get with its new little roots. Very nice feeding of self here. Excellent, excellent work. Okay, now our little seed needs even more things to keep going on its journey of transformation. So here comes step 4. Are you ready? It's another big one. Emerge and bask in the sunlight. Boom! There's that sunlight. Ah, yes, feel that sunlight. Very nice. Now that shoot emerges from the top of the broken open seed, and it reaches upward and pushes through. Now it's a seedling, and it has found the last key resource it needs. What's that last thing it's finding? Sunlight. Sunlight, that's right. Now it can keep growing and keep transforming into what it is meant to become. When we undergo transformation, we too draw on the soil and water of our foundations, right? And we are nourished by the sunlight of our communities, the relationships we have. We're nourished by our faith, our experiences, our hearts and minds, our bookshelves, and our loved ones' support. Many of us also draw on spiritual practices that nourish us in our journey of transformation. Things like meditation, prayer, journaling, walking. Nice work. These practices help us feed ourselves with clarity and groundedness and courage for the hard work of transformation. Okay, we're coming up on step 5. Now that our seedling is above ground, feeding itself, it begins to grow special kinds of stems and leaves and other parts. This is step 5. It's time to expand and flower. It's so many different kinds of things a plant does. It goes this way and this way and this way. Our seedling is growing the specific parts that will make it transform into what it is meant to become. In this stage, some seeds transform into yellow roses, some into huge pumpkins growing on the ground. Some will rise higher and higher and higher over the years and become the sturdy trunks of oaks. Some will spread out along the ground. What kind of plants do that? I know creeping phlox, right? Is that one? For us, this stage means fully allowing and encouraging new parts of us, or the new way of being, to emerge out into the world in all its specificity and beauty. At this stage, we are living out our transformation. We too spread out, reach higher, grow deeper, as we bring forth what has been so long in the making, and we savor the full blossoming of our transformation. And as time goes on, newly transformed living things create more seeds, right? We heard about that. Plants do that too, and we do this in the ways that we live and inspire those around us, leaving our own legacies of love and beauty. When it's quiet and still, and you listen carefully, what sorts of transformation might be stirring within you? Where have you found nourishing soil that feeds you and your potential for transformation? Where is the water that unlocks and refreshes your soul as you move in new ways? How might you bask in the sunshine that gives you the spark you need? May each of us, dear ones, be blessed in finding answers to these questions. May each of us be blessed in our journeys of sensing new possibilities, nourishing ourselves and blossoming in new ways. May it be so, and amen. And thank you for all the help with the steps. Well done. All right, now it's time to move into our Imagine and Share activity. As we've been talking about, we all have seeds inside of us. We also plant seeds in our relationships and our communities, right? Okay, for folks here in the sanctuary, you may have noticed that you have in your order of service a small piece of paper with something at the bottom and lots of space in the top part, right? What we're going to do is this. We're going to each read our prompt on that piece of paper at the top about a certain kind of seed, and then we are going to imagine what can grow from that kind of seed. And then we're going to draw what we imagine. There are 6 kinds of seeds. Everybody has a different prompt, different kind of seed on their paper, and they are seeds of joy, solidarity, love, bullying, envy, and mindfulness. So many kinds of seeds, right? Folks online, you can see on the television, I think. Is that true? Excellent. What these papers look like, and you can pick one of those things if you're online that I named to use as your prompt. Again, they are joy, solidarity, love, bullying, envy, and mindfulness. So for all of us, I invite you now to reflect for a few minutes about what might grow from that kind of seed. So we'll take just a few minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, to think about your answer to the prompt that you have. And I'll ring the bell when it's time to come back together. Anne's bringing around things to draw with if you need that. Raise your hand if you want something to draw with. How's it going? Are you thinking about things that come from your seed? Nice work. It really makes a difference what kind of seeds we plant, doesn't it? I see people still working away on their drawings. Very nice work with the imagining and the drawing. Now I'm going to ask you to take, if you choose to, if you'd like to take a few minutes to gather in groups of 2 or 3 and share about what you came up with for what grows from the seed that you got. And I'll ring the bell to bring us back together. Let's gather back together as we move toward the end of our service. Thank you all so much for imagining and reflecting. It's been great to see what folks are coming up with. How lovely to imagine together about the ways that planted seeds can change us and the world that we live in. And now let's rise in body and or spirit, and we'll sing together Seed of Hope, which is on the green insert in your order of service. May we stretch ourselves from the dark and nourishing soil toward the bright, transforming sunlight. And may we share our love with one another and the world as we blossom and unfold together. May it be so, and amen.
Amen. Amen.